Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Share Slice with Sean. This week, I'm happy to have Jeff Mack on the podcast. Jeff is on the Super PP Time podcast, and I'm sure you can tell by the title there that this could be an interesting conversation for sure. Also joining us is Logospilgrim. She actually was on the very first episode of Share a Slice with Sean, and we had a great discussion then about Tiki, North Korea, and Pee Wee Herman. So given all these variables, I guarantee you things are going to be kind of interesting, and I can't wait to get to the show. Let's get to it right now. So this week, I'd like to welcome a reoccurring guest, Logospilgrim, to the show. She was on the very first episode, actually, so this is really cool. Welcome, Logos.
Oh, thank you so much. My pleasure, as always. Thank you for, inviting me to join into the merriment.
Exactly. And I also have, I'm happy to say, Jeff Mack, who is 3/4 of the team for Super PP Time. Maybe actually 4/5. We're not sure. Probably.
Yes, that's exactly right. And thank you so much for having me. This is really cool. This is Super PP Time's first interview, and only half of us are here, but in spirit, more than all of us are here.
I am.
There's us, and then there's some other stranger we don't know who's also here from the podcast.
In case the listeners don't know, Super PP Time, which, by the way, is a great name. Let's get started with that.
Best name ever. Honestly, that when I heard that, I thought, I am in this immediately. I must know what this is. This is a fun time without a doubt. You can't go, it's something like straight out of Japan.
Super PP Time. So, Jeff, what's the deal with the name?
I have to tell you, it was the first example we came up with. And it was an example that I gave Cade as like a dumb example. Like I was like, I want to have it be a name that like people will be like want to tell their friends like, oh my God, did you hear Super PP Time this week? And I was like using it as a joke, and I was like, oh crap, I think I like that.
It captures the essence of the show, I would say.
Yeah, we didn't even know that it was because we didn't totally know what we were gonna do exactly at that point.
Once again, you've got the show in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a good point. We also don't know what we're gonna do in the next episode or any other episode. But yeah, we just we went through, I swear to God, we went through we probably did 200 possible titles, and I can't remember almost any of them. Although Kate at one point wanted to call it Raisins because he liked the idea of someone saying, oh, you do a podcast? What's it called? And he would just sort of look at them blankly and say, Raisins. And then they wouldn't know why in the world anyone would name something that.
It's better if he puts a question mark on that. He just says, Raisins?
Very intriguing, I must say.
If you put a question mark on the title, then it's confusing for sure. Right. I mean...
And hence appealing, very appealing. Raisins? It's like...
Raisins? That is a question. You have an answer, yes or no. You know your answer if the question is raisins.
I think
didn't Winston Churchill say that?
Oh yeah, for sure. I learned that. I think it's either Winston Churchill or Hulk Hogan, one of those two.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of crossover. There's a good Venn diagram in the middle there of the two of them together. No, we honestly, what you said, Logos, was exactly what I kind of wanted it to be, which is 90% of the people are going to be like, anyway, and let it go by. But then a small number of people are going to go, what is this weird thing? And then that's our weird people.
Oh, it's just, I have to say, it's quite a thrill to be, participating in this podcast with you right now, because, when I listened to Super PP Time the first time, I thought this is the most amazing thing ever. It's completely insane. It's just, you never know what's going to come next, but whatever it is, it'll be even more outrageous than the previous thing. It's just, you can see the inspiration coming out of the, absurd melting pot that is your minds. It is just a thing to behold.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Yeah, we really don't know. We have no idea what's going to come next, and that's what is fun for us, is we really don't know what's going to come out of our own mouth. And you'll hear sometimes we'll crack our own self up and we can't even say the thing we wanted to say because we didn't know it was coming either. It's,
Actually,
it's a strange experience.
one of the things. That's one of the great charms of the show is when you both all of you sort of realize that you've just uttered this magnificent nugget of craziness, and there's this moment of spontaneous joy that just basically you bring us all into it, and it's just truly it's like a magnificent cherry Kool-Aid moment with, pop rocks thrown in.
Sounds terrifying.
Rocket your way into stupidity with crafts. Best
Rocket your
line
way
ever.
But which episode was that? That's the problem. I mean, the
40
problem.
something 39 maybe.
Somewhere in there, yeah, a couple episodes ago, yeah.
Mackerel. How about her? Oh, see, now we're getting into the neighborhood. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, now we're doing it. Oh, so, listen to that lady. That lady seems like she knows how to do stuff with yarn and ice cube trays, that kind of stuff. Oh, she can just go to town. she goes to town on a buttonhole hooker, or a thing that hooks, not a hooker, She doesn't know as much about hookers as everybody else in the neighborhood does. But. Listen, I can make a yarn hippo in 30 minutes. That doesn't sound as impressive. Drunk as hell. You're the hippo. All hippos in nature are drunk. Yes, they have a natural beer bottle that they have built into them, and that's part of their natural defense against walking straight and knowing how to drive good.
Oh my God. I think I forgot that I should have started drinking before we got going.
I really appreciated when you sort of drunk live tweeted listening to a Super PP Time a couple weeks ago, and it was
that was
very enjoyable.
Just really a moment I'll never forget. It's like when Anthony Bourdain says, "This is a meal that I'll remember my whole life." It was one of those moments.
I'd have to say that this episode, Rocket Yourself into Stupidity with Crafts, is probably one of my very favorites. The other one that I love is, it's when the son, dad gets home or something, and his son is at home, and the dad opens up his bag for whatever reason. And he discovers some gear.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Was it like, not handball? What was it again?
Slappy sandwich?
Slappy
ball?
sandwich ball.
Is that
he breaks into song.
Yes.
Oh, so this is not the one with the weasel equipment, right?
It's not the one with the weasel equipment.
The one that there was weasel equipment.
We have a lot of equipment. There are a lot of episodes where there's a lot of equipment that doesn't totally make sense.
All right. So what's your backgrounds in comedy? I mean, I found a blog. I don't know if this is true or not. Were you once in the East Coast, or is that like another Jeff Mack?
Oh, no, sure. I was in New York for 16 years. After college, I moved to New York. I was there from 93 to 2009, and I was a stand-up in New York for a while. I did pretty well, I got on Comedy Central one time, and I did all right, but I didn't love it enough. Like my friends who did it then and are still doing it and doing great. I mean, like they just couldn't wait to do it when they weren't doing it. Like a friend of mine was on stage one time and I'm waiting off stage and he's like, God, you guys, like he's just telling the audience, this is the best part of my day. All day I've been waiting to get up here. And I was like, I don't think I've been waiting all day to get up here. It's like,
yeah.
I don't think I've been doing that. Yeah. Kate and I went to college together in North Carolina right before we met in 1989. And we started doing stuff, he and I, right away, like weirdly, like I don't know how, but like Cade got some gig where he was gonna write for like, I hesitate to even call it the school paper. It was like a school couple of pieces of paper stapled together kind of thing. But he was gonna write, like when we first got there, like they were like, I don't know how he got it to write a little like what it's like to be an incoming freshman. This is at North Carolina School of the Arts, and we were there for theater. And he just, for some reason, I mean, almost as an introduction, like we almost didn't know each other, and he asked if I would want to write it with him because I had done a monologue. We all had to do monologues when we first got there, and I did one that I had written, and it was kind of funny. And so we did that. And then we did a little performance thing at an open mic one time, and the freshman class at the drama department had to write the entertainment for the Christmas party. And so we wrote this kind of, as you can imagine, like a completely absurd, weird show for that. And then we hooked up with about 4 other guys, and we had a little comedy group where it wasn't even for performing for other people. It was just for ourselves, where we would do this really absurd, insane stream of consciousness thing where you had 3 minutes to make all the other guys laugh, and the other guys were trying desperately not to. The other guys were just trying with all their might to stonewall you completely. And so the only way to get them to laugh, you couldn't be like, so what's the deal with Q-tips? Like, you could not do comedy, stand-up kind of anything.
Normal, I guess what you'd call comedy. You can't do jokes, formulated jokes. You had to just catch them off guard.
Yeah, you couldn't do something that they or you could expect. And so stuff would come out of your mouth, and everyone was their own very weird person. Everyone had a really weird style, completely different from each other. And
you can see that in Super Pee-Pee Time. There's this real, there's this real chemistry between all of you that takes these 3 different or more different strands of absurdity, and it just meshes in this amazing way. It's very psychedelic,
Now, when you say all of us, there's just 2 of us, right?
Oh, okay.
Or did you not know?
There just seems to be more.
At first, I didn't know. I was like, how many are there? Because you guys have some sort of voice processors or something. Do your friends and family listen to this show? What do they think of that? Because I played a bit for my wife, and she looked at me like maybe she didn't quite know how to process it. And I think there's 2 people out there. There's the people who listen to it and say this is the greatest, and then you've got other people who are like, I think
other
you're
99%
crazy.
of the people who go.
I was in Nirvana when I listened to this the first time. I was like, where has this been all my life? It's just an instant connection. I don't know. It's just magic is what it is.
There are some. Some of my friends definitely listen to it, and some of them definitely don't. My wife loves it. I don't know about Kate's family or anything. My mom sometimes listens to it. I think it worries her. My wife's parents listen to it. They live here in the same town in Albuquerque where we live, and they're hilarious. They love it. They listen to it all the time. It's very funny. I think it probably worries them too, but they're nice enough not to say so.
There's a certain type of humor that some people get and some people don't. There's the for Monty Python.
Sure,
that's exactly it. That was one. I was going to ask you if that's an influence of yours, because it seems like when Monty Python, if you were to take those guys and just let them do whatever they wanted, I would have a feeling that you would have Super Pee-Pee Time.
That is the nicest thing to say. That is high praise, because I think a lot of people our age, kids in my age, we're in our mid 40s, and we were about, I don't know. I probably discovered them when I was, 12 or something. And it was, this was before, some people had cable, some people didn't, kind of a thing. And so it would be okay, it's on public broadcasting. It's on at midnight on Saturdays. And you'd hear a rumor that this show, and you'd go on there. And I'm like, this is madness. This is total. Monty Python is total madness. And what
Talking to a piece of wood,
Yeah.
and
I'd be later on, I'd realize they'd be making references to things in, maybe in actual popular culture, but in Britain in 1972 or whenever they were doing it. So I didn't know the reference. I just thought it was random and maniacal. I just thought, even if they were making references, I wasn't getting the references. I just knew it was funny,
Right. I'm sure some of it is random and maniacal.
Yes.
For sure.
And that was just stuff where, and that was it. Well, what you said a minute ago was where has this been all my life? Oh my God, because
it's the kids in the hall when they had the chicken lady, stuff like that.
Or the cabbage head guy, and you're like, it's meaningless. He doesn't have to have a cabbage head. He just does. There's sort of 2 branches. I think 2 big branches that you kind of got to pick one with comedy. Is either it's satirical and it's commentary and it's about something, or it's absurd and it just sort of is something. You know what I mean? If something is satirical and something is poking fun at something in society and saying, okay, this is what society is like, isn't this ridiculous? And it enlarges some aspect of it to make the point, right? Well, and what we do is like, okay, this is what society's like. Well, what if it was like this instead? What if something else was happening? What if it was weirder than that?
Right.
And so it's a lot more what if.
Dali painting of humor. The clocks are melting.
Yeah.
What I find is that there is some level of at least parody. For instance, in Rocket Yourself into Stupidity with crafts, you've got this whole craft show, and it sounds like it comes from like some community television channel or something like that. And you've got, I just picture this.
Yes, there, right?
I just picture this lady with this like crazy beehive perm and big thick glasses, and she's like, "Welcome now."
That's exactly right. I mean, there's actually, I've seen, I forget where I saw this, but I don't know if it was Tumblr or something along those lines, but they would post photographs of insane crafts that they would find like on Etsy. And one of them was like a fish Snape ceramic figurine. I don't ask me what this is supposed to be because I don't know. But there's some people out there making stuff like this. So that's definitely there. That aspect of it.
Cade had seen a show. He wanted to do a craft ladies thing, and he had watched like on YouTube, and he had seen like, he's like, you have no goddamn idea how much these people know about buttons and like kinds of thread. Like they know it. They know it all. And he's like, you could just stop and no one would ever care. You could never do your show and no one would know or care. But
so Jeff, when you were a kid, were you a bit of a strange kid? I mean,
what do you mean?
Like,
be more specific.
Did you use the funny voice outside of funny voice context, for instance?
Well, I mean, I was a pretty quiet kid, I think. I was actually pretty quiet. I was like, when you said you had to be kicked out of the house, like that was it for me. It was like, you didn't like send me to my room to punish me, because that's all I wanted to do was go to my room and read and do whatever. But I guess there came I was more of a quiet, funny person, like who would like get somebody else in trouble for laughing their head off, like quietly in class. Like I would say something quiet in the back and make somebody, like I was not like a class clown, loudmouth kind of person by any stretch. I was definitely, kind of, but I always, like, I just appreciated it. I know, because I think it cracked my dad up or something. Like, I think he was a real comedy fan. And so I think it cracked him up. And so I just became I got into it. I just got into the idea of, oh yeah, this is fun to do this weird stuff. But I don't know how weird. Yeah, no, I guess I was weird. But I mean, I was just kind of a nerdy little kind of semi-loner kid, I suppose. I don't know.
Well, I mean, isn't that, Rowan Atkinson said something similar when he was talking about where Mr. Bean came from. He said, I was a quiet kid. I spent a lot of time by myself, and I like amusing myself all alone, basically. So and it's actually from this type of person that you get precisely this sort of humor, which it tends to be over the top, as opposed to your basic extrovert who ends up being your Jay Leno and so on.
Right.
But then you have someone like you, someone like Rowan Atkinson, Pee Wee Herman. I mean, all of that stuff is gloriously absurd and all very inclusive, because Pee Wee was like, it's okay to be odd, which is exactly what you guys are doing. So you're doing a vital service to humanity, and I applaud you for that. I
don't know if it's okay to be odd, but we are odd, so we can't do anything about it. So it might as well be okay, I suppose. On Sunday nights when I was a kid, it was like 9:00 every Sunday night. There would be this show called The Comedy Hour, and it was on just like one of the rock stations, the local rock stations out of Hartford, Connecticut, where I grew up. And I would just have my little headphones on, and it'd be past my bedtime, and I'd be listening, and they would just do little snippets from stand-up albums. And it got to the point where I just knew them so well. I would know by the sound of the crowd laughing before the comic talked. I was like, oh, this is that Robin Williams special. Oh, this is Richard Lewis.
Oh,
like I just got to know it. And like, it was like, just me listening to this thing happening in the dark. And it's kind of funny because like I went and I did stand up, and I didn't actually really love it. But here I am being like weird little voice in the dark. Like that's kind of what I'm
Well, you guys, I mean, you're
around to where I
improv
am.
guys, right? I
Right,
mean, that's what
right.
that's a whole different thing. Doing improv, it's not the same as stand up.
Sure,
And so
sure.
that there's more room for, mayhem.
Yeah, it's really all about the mayhem, and especially sometimes I'll hear Cade, and he'll go into one of his little spiels, and you'll hear him sort of going,
Yeah,
penis.
Yeah.
Duh,
Yeah, it's
and
like-
I will be like, duh,
Like,
donuts.
oh my gosh, what are they coming up with next? And then, of course, Jeff invariably starts laughing, hysterically, which is fabulous.
Here's one more, actually. Here, I'm going to play this. We'll see if we can hear it.
Oh, you know what I want to do?
What do you want to do? What's up?
Is I want to do a political commercial.
Okay.
You know these crappy local, people running for local office, and they put together this shitty commercials.
Sure. I gotta think about it for a sec. Get my head into it.
Okay.
Hold on, let me see. Tony Berulio. Tony Berulio.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so let's try this out here. Our county is in a dirty state of mind. Only one man can bring us through the sort of cheese membrane that's keeping us from a good place into this bad place that we're in.
Hi, I'm Tony Brulio. When a fox ate a monster, I was there. In 1943, well, that was a while ago.
Sort
I
of
read
a
a
World War II fox
Yeah,
nearly destroyed our town. Tony Berulio was there.
that's right. I worked with local leaders to make a hand-witches, a significant porcupine, to defend our town.
This plan did not fully come together.
Oh my god.
This is what I'm talking about. And I just wanted to play a couple of, at least a couple of outtakes, because it's kind of difficult to describe the show
You
to
guys are
someone
like
who
Abbott
hasn't
and
heard it
Costello
before.
on some kind of hallucinogenic drug or
Oh yeah,
something.
do you guys do you guys prepare for the show like by taking peyote or
Shockingly, we're just like this.
sniff
Like we don't do anything.
Lysol or no?
We don't-
Oh, okay.
We don't even do it. I don't think Kate even does anything at all. I don't use it. I mean, I will have a beer now and again, but not when we're going to perform. We're just weird. We're just weird people.
Whatever kind of like damage has been done to the brain chemistry is already taken place.
Yeah, it's already taken care
Maybe
of.
in womb or something.
We're sort of pre-hallucinogen. Honestly, I never remember anything that we say. Like I have no memory of it. It's like I was in a bus accident or something. It's like afterwards I was like, was that funny? Did anything happen? I don't even know if it,
That's half the fun actually of watching your show is to pause it and then tweet what I just listened to while I'm just laughing hysterically because it has to be preserved for posterity in a tangible way. It's like you people need to be listening to this right now. Oh my God, I'm turning into an apostle. Watch out.
There we go.
It's super peepeeism, people. The toilet is the pulpit of the future.
Basically, you'll need to drink the apple juice, and then
Sure.
you'll just be fine. Everything will be fine.
Absolutely.
So, with all that said, with the evangelization and the transformation complete of Logos's brain, I think that we're probably going to have to wrap the show up.
Sure.
So
How far much
Jeff,
further can we go than us
I
becoming
think we've
the
reached,
popes of
almost the
something? I
limit.
don't know.
interplanetary rulers, perhaps.
Sure, of course. Sounds like a good gig.
But so, Jeff, can you just let us know where we can find this amazing show, and also, your Twitter, your every other mechanism of mind control you may have.
Yeah, well, we're on Twitter at Super PP Time, and if you go to iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, any place where you find a podcast, if you found this podcast, you can look in the search area for Super PP Time, There's only one. There aren't a lot of podcasts who call themselves Super PP Time. So if you find one called Super PP Time, you'll know it's us.
Oh, may I just place in one request? T-shirts. Seriously.
Oh, yes.
I'm first in line. Super PP Time T-shirt. I beg you.
I'm working on a new logo right now with my wife. She's a graphic design-y kind of person.
Oh.
And so we're going to work on something, and maybe at some point there will be T-shirts and tattoos and,
doilies.
doilies. Sure. Beautiful American Girl dolls with Super PB Time clothing on them. Sure, absolutely.
Commemorative toilets.
Yes, sleds, baseball bats, Cuisinarts, whatever. Give us a listen. I promise within 30 seconds, if you listen, you will know that it isn't like another podcast. So that may be a good or bad thing for you. For 90% of people, it's probably going to be like, I'm not comfortable right now. But for the other 10%, welcome. We love you.
Perfect. Okay, Jeff, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. This is just so much fun. It was so much fun. I have to ask you guys, how the hell did you guys even find out about this?
About the show?
How did you come across it?
Yeah,
it was
Logos.
Sean, right? I think that's how I first heard
didn't
about
tell
it.
you that.
Sean retweeted you guys, and it was just love at first listen. Truly.
Okay, so I think Logos actually told me about the show.
See, now
Did
this
I?
is
Okay, so
this is where it gets weird. Is you can't both have told each other
like
about
a Super PP Time show, nobody knows what's going on.
I like it.
It could have been the drinking water, or maybe it was that video game I played last night.
Maybe it was my Twitter, my Twitter feed or something. And again, I just saw Super PP Time. Oh my God!
It's a winner.
Listen to this immediately.
It's totally a winner. Logos, thanks so much for being on the show too. And
it was truly a privilege as usual and a pure joy. And, it was just lovely to chat with both of you. And again, thank you, Sean, for always putting on these fabulous shows and for having me on, and also for, granting me the oh my gosh, I'm getting palpitations again for just, granting me the audience here of, one of the, lovely fellows at Super PP Time. It was truly unforgettable. Thank you so much.
And Logos, where can the listeners catch up with you? What's your website?
Oh goodness. Well, I'm at www.logospilgrim.com. Logospilgrim is also my Twitter handle. I've got some great books in the works. Atheist Tiki Hour, how to your guide to a secular blast. And I'm also going to be collaborating soon with this awesome band, which you should all listen to. Their name is Rubber Clown Car, another unforgettable name, if I do say so myself.
Super PP Time and Rubber Clown Car.
I mean,
it works really well.
It's an amazing time to be alive, isn't it? So.
What a world! What a world!
Terrific, awesome indie band. So we'll be doing that, and taking more fabulous tomboy photographs and suits and, sexy garments, sequin gold tuxedos, etc. So please drop by. It's always lovely to, meet new people, and that's it.
That's it. I think it's a wrap. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you
so much.
Well, that was the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, you can listen to previous episodes over at shareaslicepodcast.com. You can also find us over at iTunes and Stitcher. And if you could leave us ratings and reviews there, it would be super amazing. Also, remember that you can catch up with us over at Facebook. Just search for the Facebook page, Share a Slice with Sean. All music for this episode is done by Chromatics Music. That's KROMATIKS. And it's used with permission. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and hope you come back next time.